Hello, welcome to Climax. I am Barisan,
And I'm the Night Shadow.
and we'll be talking about the March ban list, the new one that's been released 1 or 2 days ago, depending on when I decide to release this video. First, I believe we should talk about what the good stuff. The good stuff, I say the cards that has been removed from the ban list, which may or may not be a good thing. First card we'll be talking about is from Railgun. I'm just gonna call it Railgun because no one really plays Index anymore, to be honest. First card is
Kuroko, Tokiwa Dies Lady. It's a level 1, cost 1, 6,000 power, red character with the ESP and Judgment traits. And if so you control a character with Mikoto in its name, this card gets 1,500 power.
now the reason I think this got released is because there's already a better card in the S set anyways.
It's a 117k with character encore, essentially, if you have the other half of it.
Yeah, that and the fact that you could just play green and be like, yep, I got 119k now. Both turns.
Yeah, Satan Uehara is kind of sick now.
Yeah, it kind of made this card, kind of just why is it even on the ban list anymore?
Exactly.
I'll be honest. This being removed from the ban list, it feels like it's not gonna do anything. All it really means is that you could play. Oh, you could play Encore with this now, actually.
Yeah, you can. 7-5 with Encore with this is not bad, but it does open up a little bit if you want to run Heaven's Canceller. And I'm seeing lots of people run Heaven's Canceller over Kiyama, so I think still that's a potential, but Satan Uehara is just too good not to ignore.
Yeah, that's true. Don't even think that that lose in particular is anything with heavy suiciders, level 1 suiciders. I should be more specific
Or
about.
level 2 early plays, 1 to 2 changes.
Yeah, but even then they have some sort of counter to that at times. Because
Well,
9k
they don't
9k is a big number, man.
9k is a big number, but if you remember your rewrite changed into 9-5, for example.
That's different. That one could get handled core.
And then how about my Vivid Green, the 12-5? Set 17-5 on defense.
That's just big. That's just big. It's nothing in particular. It's just big.
Well, that's the point. I mean,
In any case, I don't think that this particular knock off the list is gonna have any particular big heavy changes in the meta because it's just that 119k. It just feels better because it's 119k.
okay, fair enough.
Next card. I think all Haruhi players would gladly have this off the list. First, we're gonna be talking about the Haruhi list. It's been changed a decent amount of not decent amount of times. It's been changed, and I think it's been changed for the better, at least for them. The first card I'm going to talk about is the card that's been taken off the list, Nagato Summer Festival.
Wow, this card.
3 to 10k. If you have 4 more aliens on field, this loses a level in your hand, and when you attack if you attack at the Climax card named Night of the remaining 2 weeks is in the zone, heal off the top, and you can gain 3k for the turn.
It's a draw trigger climax.
Yes, there's that too.
Man alive. This card goes off, so you can now run this card with Trouble Girl Haruhi or the Reshuffler Nagato. Wow.
Yeah, I think it's fine to be honest.
Well, it's just amazing, right? I mean, like, we talked all this time about how Haruhi had very little chance of getting unbanned, and here we are talking about Haruhi getting unbanned.
If people didn't know what this card did in particular back then, it's like just throw it on field and he heal every single turn because back then fighting at level 3 at level 2 is really hard, like really hard. And getting 4 aliens on field isn't actually hard at all because most Haruhi competitive deck is practically Nagato anyways. So dropping this at level 2 is not hard. It's not gonna be hard. The climax itself, draw trigger, it's not bad. You heal and gain 3k. It's technically a spammable heal. In a sense. So yeah, it's a good card. Taken off the list. What can it possibly do? First of all, it could get countered by anti-change, even though it never actually got changed.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, that's just technically a plus for you because anti-change, using anti-change technically costs more than playing this card itself. You technically still get the heal off because it's on attack, so if as long as you attack, you'll be fine. And that means you technically don't have to play a level 2 game anymore for not Haruhi deck, to be more specific, Nakato deck.
I think that's gonna be the only deck for Haruhi for a while.
Yeah, now I guess it depends on the player which one they would choose. I think most people would just play Haruhi and Naruto for the lower 3s. Dress Up has always been kind of a tech 1-2 card. That card heals too, and it should be easy to do because of this reshuffle ability. Rearrange ability, whatever you want to call it.
Do you think you're gonna go to Trouble Girl more, or do you think you're gonna go with Dress Up?
I think they're just gonna go with Trouble Girl because book draw trigger and salvage trigger, and both of them are really good combos.
So what would they run at level 0 to, I guess, make up for it? Or would they run the anti-comeback? Oh, I mean when they trigger a comeback trigger, kill the level 1, I think, is the ability?
Yeah, it's kill level 1 or lower, I believe.
Okay.
If it's not level 1 or lower, I think it's cost 0.
Yeah.
I can't remember the full effect, to be honest.
But they're gonna run that though, right?
I think even in the pure Naruto deck they ran that card anyways.
Okay.
Back then it's the people ran that card at 4s because triggering comebacks technically means you could get the +1 off the salvage and the another +1 and pay that climax out. Another +1 and pay that climax out on trigger. It's technically a +2 card. Even if you consider anti-salvage on field, it's still considered +1. Oh, it depends if you're okay paying a stock, but I don't think there's gonna be an issue there.
Especially because it's your climax you're paying out of stock, so.
Yeah, especially since it's a climax you're paying out. I think people will do it anyways.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
There are obviously corner cases like you're approaching level 3. You want to have that extra stock so you can play 3 level 3s. Yada yada yada.
Maybe there's just no targets at all. That or there's no targets, or you just pay one just to get that out, just before refresh, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think in terms of what people will use, I think more people use troublesome girl, whatever. Haruhi.
Well, Haruhi is troublesome.
Yeah. Over Dress Up because Dress Up's it's always been a tech. It feels like it's always a tech-in card to me.
Okay.
And in exchange, for this card coming off the list, another card went back in the list again. Faded of Faded Colors. It's a 2/1 event. Choose one of your level 1 or higher, send it to the waiting room. If you do, choose a level 0 Brigade Chief from a character in the waiting room, put it on stage, and then grab 2 characters, put it into your hand.
Is there some sort of combo with the World of with Faded Colors and Summer Festival Nagato that there's a reason why they can't exist together?
Trying to figure it out real quick. I was pretty sure there was one card that had both Brigade Chief and Alien on it.
Oh, okay.
But I cannot say that for sure because I do not play Haruhi enough.
The 1/0. The 1/0.
Is it the one? Is it actually?
It's Nagato and Haruhi at the pool.
Is it actually Alien and Brigade? Oh my god! You gotta be kidding me. Now I remember that. Now I remember the combo. Yes, that was the damn combo. Stupid fucking combo. I remember that now because you just kill that card and just pull. Actually, wait, is that even right? It had to be a level 0 card. Whatever. Anyways, it's not hard. It's a +1 card regardless. It's very loopable because of Bikuru card.
Well, I think we talked about this the last time.
We talked about this the last time. For those who didn't, I don't remember which episode we talked about it. I think it was the first one. Probably the first one.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely the first one. Definitely the first one. We talked about this card before. This card can be looped. Infinite +1 as long as you have this card in your hand. It's not hard. It's very easy to loop.
Okay, that makes sense. So that event was actually the problem.
The event itself is really good. It's a +1 event that goes to memory, so you're not losing anything, honestly.
Yeah.
It's also good for compression because if you look at it, you kill one card, put it back on field. Oh, that's break even. I then just pick up 2 cards, so that's like what? -2 to the waiting room. One +1 to the waiting room. That means -1 to the waiting room, and this card goes to memory, so it doesn't actually go to the waiting room. It's like one free card out of the waiting room as well.
Yeah, so the ban makes a little bit more sense now, and you think Haruhi will jump up in usability?
Um, Nagato can be countered pretty easily, especially in this meta now. Anti-change, the level 2 game seems to be rather high these days. I'm pretty sure we'll see some play, sure. I'm not sure how far we'll go.
I'd like to see the matchup between this Haruhi and new Nisekoi.
The new Nisekoi. That would be pretty hard to say.
I'd like to see what happens with those two when they face each other.
If we ever see that. All right.
Well, it's not like Nisekoi was on this list, but only just to say that the Mono Marika deck will be under review in another 6 months.
Yes, I guess we should mention that. There was something mentioned on Nisekoi. Nisekoi technically never got changed in the ban list. It's just being mentioned that the Marika trial thing is under trial for another 6 months. Basically, that means the ban list for Nisekoi didn't really change, but it's kind of being closely observed.
Just make sure that the 4 Marikas in the Mono Marika deck isn't too good.
All right. Next.
All right. Yay, my set. Kantai. All right. In Kantai, I think this is the biggest change and quite the defining notion of this ban list. First off, we have 2 unrestrictions and 2 restrictions. Let's get to the unrestrictions first. First card that comes off the restriction list is Musashi, second Yamato class battleship. This is a level 3, cost 2, 11,000 power, yellow character with the Fleet Girl and Battleship traits. This card can't side attack, and once per turn, during the turn it comes into play, when this card's damage is cancelled, you may mill 1, and you deal damage to your opponent equal to the level +1 of that card. Climaxes are level 0 for that effect. My goodness. This card, along with Akagi in the first set, was a rather damaging force. Yeah. Being able to diversify in a way your threats with just 2 different level 3s. It was really, really dangerous. They're unrestricting it for a reason that I'm going to cover in a bit. I'm just going to cover the second card that's being unrestricted, and that is Inazuma Blunderer. This is a level 0, cost 0, 2,500 power, green character with the Fleet Girl and Destroyer traits. When this card comes into play, check top card, and if it's not a Fleet Girl character, this comes into play rested. When this card goes from stage to waiting room, you may pay 1 and take the top card of your deck, put in your clock. If you do, search for one level 1 or lower character, reveal it, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. This card was a really, really easy form of advantage back in the day, where it would be, you play Inazuma, you attack with it, it goes to the waiting room, you search out Shimakaze. Because you're hitting yourself, you're going to hit level 1 first. Then you play Shimakaze, reverse your opponent with the Climax, search out the Junyo or the Musashi or the Akagami Kais. And from there, now you basically have a really consistent field and just bide your time until level 3. And Inazuma was looked to be as one of the key offenders, and this was actually a really strong hit back when it was first released. With the meta as it is right now, though, this isn't as hard of a hit as before.
It's because the Katsuki is available now, isn't it?
Yes. So I'm going to do a whole little summary at the end regarding this set, but I'm going to get to restrictions now. Akagami Kai, who was on the ban list before, is staying. And to join it, we have 2 new cards, both from the first set. First card is Hatsukase 7th Kagero class Destroyer. This is level 0, cost 0, 2,000 power, yellow character with the Fleet Girl Destroyer traits. All other Fleet Girl characters you control gain 500 power. And during an attack phase, when a player salvages a character from their waiting room, their characters lose 3 soul for the turn. This is what we've referred to as anti-salvage, and while not the very first anti-salvage effect in the game, it is one of the more defining ones, because it was the first that was mass played. And this this one was very much responsible for a lot of the meta changing to not really run comeback triggers as much, along with the Kyosuke from Little Busters.
Sure saw the one during the time of rewrite. Anyways, honestly, I thought Hatsukai's is too powerful. It's too powerful anyways. It's 2k for some dumbass reason.
Because it's an effect that, according to Bushiroad, is global. So it works both on you and your opponent. So that's why it doesn't lose any power. Even if it was 1500, it would still be on this restricted list.
No, I'm just saying. I thought it's just the power for the card is way too high for what it is. That's what I thought, honestly. As everyone knows, this is probably the more defining anti-salvage. Honestly, didn't like the Little Buster one, but that being said, this one's a level 0. It doesn't cost you anything to do. It doesn't cost you a stock or anything.
I noticed some comments that were regarding Hatsukase being broken because it was playable turn 0. In all honesty, turn 0 Hatsukase is not actually a good thing.
Turn 0, we're talking about like turn 1, right?
Well, I mean, sorry, level 0, I should say. Level 0 Hatsukase isn't exactly a good thing at all times. If you trigger a comeback at that point, you can lock your opponent level 0 by getting free attacks in, especially if you're reversing their characters, which is more likely to happen in Kantai because they don't have any strong power capable characters at level 0.
At the same time, your opponent could do the same thing, and if your opponent has the advantage, you're kind of fucked yourself over.
Oh, I was talking about the opponent.
Oh, I was kind of half
because most of the time when you're running Hatsukaze, you won't be running comebacks yourself. If you are running comebacks, then you're going to limit yourself to one Hatsukaze because it's just that good. At least that's what it was before this ban list update. The second card, Hibiki, second Akatsuki class destroyer, is a level 0, cost 0, 1000 power, green character with the Fleet Girl and Destroyer traits. When this card gets reversed in battle, you may pay 1 and send this to memory. If you do, choose a Berni trustworthy destroyer in your waiting room and put it onto the slot this was in, rested. As long as this is in memory, whenever either player takes a card from their clock and moves it to the waiting room due to their own effect, they may pay 2 stock. If they don't, they take the top card of their deck and put in clock.
In other words, the very first memory anti-heal, or at least I think it was the first one. It's not the first one, it would be like the third one.
It's the fourth.
Oh yeah, that's right. The first one was from
the fourth. The first one
was from Vivid.
The first one was Kill a Kill.
Kill a Kill?
No,
no, I'm pretty sure it's Vivid.
No, that's wrong. It's Gargantia. So Suicide Gargantia was the first one. Vivid Red Operation was a close second. Kill a Kill then had their booster with also the anti-heal, and then this one. So this is the fourth memory anti-heal. However, this is one of the most efficient aside from Suicide Gargantias. Gargantias allows you to search for a pilot. Honestly, this one changes into a 1-0.
Honestly, I thought the Gachi one was better anyways, but
it is better.
No, it's not. It's not. Not that it is. It damn is better to guess you search for a card. You're not relying on a card in your waiting room.
At the same time, it's undeniable that when you change from the 0 to the 1, it's really, really effective.
Yeah. Most people cannot deal with a 106k on the get-go.
And if you have back row, that's 107k.
That too. So most people tend to just dodge it and either
force. Diva can handle it, but that's about it.
The only real way I would say, is to deal with it is to kill without actually killing it, which makes no sense at all. Send it to waiting room before you actually, besides reversing it. Or
Railgun will actually have an easy time. Actually, now I think about it, they have the cost 0 brainstorm kill.
Good number of cards could do it. Vivid Red could do it because I would say the main global support has the effect. Which
nope.
Yeah.
Their global level their global 500 says pay 1, kill level 0 in the front row.
Exactly, and Hibiki won't be in the front row.
No, I'm saying like once Verni is out, then you're.
I mean, like just kill Hibiki before Verni even comes out in the first place.
If they see that card on the field, they'll just ram it in, won't they?
If they could. If they do, then go ahead. Just go ahead. They'll probably just do it anyways. I mean, like in the situation where they decide to like keep it on field as some reason. I'm not sure why. At least a lot of players I know won't just ram it in. They think they could get more advantage out of it.
Yeah, it's usually punishing to think that way, though. I mean, I'm very sure about half of the series in the game can actually deal with it.
Not every series, but
heck, even Sal can send it to stock.
But basically, any card that gets sent it somewhere else before it actually activates, is an easy way to deal with Hibiki. If Fury's already out, I say only Terraformers and Railgun could actually effectively deal with it right away. Well, not even that. It's not good. It's not a good chance. Other that basic 4/5 2k1 soul. Hopefully you don't have a support. If you have a support, put more support on your card.
But yeah, the reason that this card is on here is because it's a really efficient change. There were a bunch of people that were complaining that it didn't require discard in order to change stock costs and all that fun stuff. Basically, there was a lot going on to this card that was really efficient and really strong.
Now with this list updated, now what we all call it the anti-fun the anti-fire Kantai deck isn't gonna hold up anymore because both the salvage and heal is on the same list.
Yes. I think I know why this list is like this now, by the way.
Go for it.
Basically, as I mentioned in a previous podcast, Bushiroad really wanted to have anti-salvage be a thing. They were kind of tired of seeing the meta being always 8 comeback triggers or 7 comeback triggers in one tech card, one tech climax. It was always salvage this, salvage that, and barely any other colors were seeing representation. It was to the point where competitive Weiss Schwarz was essentially, do you run red? If you don't, you're not competitive. And it got to the point where Bushiroad decided to make this ability in order to start curbing. They first introduced an anti-salvage in Little Busters. It was a very weak one. You just gained a stock whenever your opponent salvaged at any time. No, sorry. Before that, Dog Days, sorry. Before that, Dog Days. Anti-salvage there was at any time you give 2k to a character, and that was actually considerably powerful for its time and allowed Dog Days to keep going. But it didn't do enough.
I think we just go ahead and ran into 8 gates anyways because at some point power didn't become a big thing anymore.
Because you would still do damage and you'd have all this hand and you could just basically afford to lose your guys on the field and just attack again with more guys later. Then the Little Busters one I was mentioning earlier, it's a 1/1 Rin, 1500 to center, and whenever your opponent salvages, you gain a free stock off the top of your deck.
I'm pretty sure that Kappa was the first one with that.
The Capo had that one too?
Yes, it did.
Okay, that I'm unfamiliar with.
That one I believe that was in the anniversary set.
Did they have the same kind?
It's a 2/1 it was a 2/1 instead.
Oh wow.
2/1 that the +1k in front. It's also a yellow card.
And then whenever you salvage a stock
Whenever your opponent salvage, you stock off the top.
Yeah. Okay. So then there's that in 10th anniversary. Then Little Busters Anime got it. Same anti-salvage, but it's kind of weird. Like it didn't really give you much. Little Busters wasn't exactly a deck that was heavy on stock.
Unless you play
especially
Cood.
their yellow ones.
Unless you play Cood.
Especially their yellow ones.
Yeah.
And the ones that did need stock had better stock gaining options in green anyways. That didn't rely on your opponent running salvages in any way. The only thing that really helped was bodyguard builds, and that wasn't really strong at all. So then we come to Hatsukaze, and this one actually does affect the meta quite a bit. There's a lot of outcry, and when Bushiroad doesn't ban it, then everybody starts to adapt, and you see less and less comebacks. I'm like, comebacks are still being run, because when you don't face Kantai, it was amazing. But as long as you face Kantai, which was a popular set when it was first released, and still is to this day, Hatsukaze would shut down those comeback triggers, and sometimes people would salvage to the detriment of their soul. And sometimes that's good, most of the time it was bad.
Sometimes you didn't have a choice, or it's because you're so far behind.
They added a second anti-salvage in the 1/1 Kyosuke in Little Busters as well, and this also defined it because the people that had gotten ready to avoid the whole -3 soul penalty were not ready to discard 2 cards from hand. And you couldn't fight both anti-salvages at the same time. Because of that, definitely the number of comebacks has dropped to the point where some viable decks like Zero no Tsukaima don't run comeback triggers at all. So the reason that this came about is because Bushiroad wanted to make sure that there was no one type of climax, one type of deck, always these salvaging things. And now that Hatsukaze and Kyosuke have had time to do their thing, everything's just become a rush burn deck, thanks in no part to all the anti-heals that's also been coming out. And essentially every single deck has to be a rush burn deck. And that, to Bushiroad, was also the same problem because every single deck had was pretty much aiming for the exact same thing. There were some variety and a little bit more than before, but it's pretty much the same thing. So they finally relented, added these both in, and now there's an interesting choice for Kantai players. Because if they feel like the meta will be heavier on comebacks, then they can put Hatsukaze in. If they feel that meta will be heavier on healing, then they can put Hibiki in. But they cannot choose both, and they have to guess correctly. And in fact, if the meta isn't really healing heavy or salvage heavy, then Akagi actually ends up being the correct choice. And it's that little interesting conundrum that the Kantai players have now, and I actually kind of like this.
Anyways, the everyday problem I have every time I play Idolmaster.
What do you mean?
No, nothing. Anyways, Which one do you think will be played most at this point?
I think Hibiki will be played the most, even though Hatsukaze is the better option.
Do you think Akagi will ever come back at this point?
No, Akagi is gonna be run about. See, the last time we had the ban list for Kantai, it was like Musashi, Akagi, and Inazuma, and like 10% of people were running Inazuma at most. Like there were very, very few people running Inazuma. Most were running Akagi, and the few that didn't ran Musashi because that's what they were used to. About this one though, I feel like it's gonna be almost even. There's gonna be a good portion that go for Akagi because Akagi with Yamato Kai is still the kind of the ridiculous ending. And now that you can run Musashi with it, you don't have to spend all that stock with Yamato Kai. Then you have the people that like the Hibiki, and not only is she an efficient anti-heal, but also the changer to a 1-0. It just gives you field. The players that do run this don't care that they're using up valuable deck space because they're getting a consistent field, because that's more important to them. The people that run Hatsukaze will recognize that the reason why people stop running comebacks is because of Hatsukaze and Kyosuke. So the lack of it may force people to come back to comeback triggers, make it a little bit more viable, in which case Hatsukaze will punish those characters. In fact, Hatsukaze makes Kantai Collection win against some matchups that would normally be average or they would lose. So to those players, it's more of a matchup based. And I think there's about an even split on all of them. A little bit less for Akagi, but I think it's like a 45, well, no, 35, 35, 30 type thing. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
Can't say for sure, to be honest. It feels like a nerf, but it feels like a buff as well, based on the last list.
It's a definite nerf.
Because you do gain your enders again, but you lose your anti stuff that you had before. So that means your opponent can do more things than they used to before as well. But technically, that means you can end the game faster, and because Inazuma is on the field, you can have a more consistent build up, I suppose you could call it.
Yep. And with Inazuma around, I mean, like, it's going to be really easy to set up whatever level 1 you want to. So you don't have to spam high power like I'm doing right now, or you don't have to run tech cards to deal with certain matchups. Now you can just search up whatever you need and ditch the rest. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here.
I might have to change my deck too, to be honest, because I ran Makoto just to deal with Hibikis.
And now what?
Oh, I might just keep it in just to see what happens for a few more days. Anyways, I suppose that's the ban list. Nothing. Can't say for sure how Kantai is. Nagato. No, sorry, I'm gonna say Nagato. The Haruhi is definitely getting buffed. It's gonna be buffed, and no one can really care about Railgun.
The Niseko thing is interesting. They're watching the Marika deck, so guys, play the heck out of the Marika deck. We'll see what happens afterwards.
Yep. So that is the ban list for this semester, I guess you could call it. This half of the year. And I guess we'll be talking about this next time. And next time we might have to cover the whole list again, to be honest.
Yeah.
So we'll see you 6-7 months from now. I don't know. No, no. I mean, I should say we'll be talking about this 6 months from now.
You don't think they're gonna do an emergency ban list for Little Busters? I've seen some people suggesting that.
I don't know yet. I can't say anything, to be honest. Little Bus is still powerful what it is right now. They didn't have any much representation in Japan, so
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think there'll be an emergency ban list right away, at least.
Yeah.
It usually shows up before WGP.
Yeah.
Not sure about.
Which is my opinion too. So I don't think they're actually gonna have one. So I'm expecting 6 months.
And then emergency ban list before BCF usually never happens. The first time that actually happened was for Disgaea, and even then, that never actually happened until after BCF was out. BCF was done. So, and only then they ban list emergency ban list. I think that's the first emergency ban list I've seen, at least. So, in my career, at least. So yeah.
Okay.
Unless an emergency ban list comes out, we'll be talking about the next ban list next time.
All right. Until then.